support we have from everybody we reach out to. So even people who can't be here, or sponsors who say no this time, but they're definitely in next time, we're always so overwhelmed because, people care. And I think people care a lot more than we give each other credit for sometimes. So you may be surprised. Somebody that you may not have anything else in common with, they may actually care about the environment and our future more than you may think. So if we can come together in that shared mission to do something, I think we can really make a big change. All right, so we do have a couple of incredible guests tonight, and we do want to thank the Soho Warehouse, which Annalisa already did so wonderfully, for having us once again. And we have this amazing cheese from Streamu, and I think that all of you have tried it. I got like one bite. Did all of you get a chance to try the cheese? Right, it's incredible, right? It's incredible. And it's all plant-based, which is better for, obviously, for the animals, right? It's also better for the environment. Did you know it's also better for you as well? So it's a win-win-win. I mean, literally nobody loses in this cheese game, so we love that. And we have some other really amazing supporters too. So hopefully all of you were able to grab a gift bag. I know we only had, I think, 45, so the first 45 people who came tonight were able to snag one of those bags. And we have Ashapaz Bitchin sauce, Emmy's Organics from the ground up, Taquino Truco treats, vegan chocolates. We have a special little notebook from Vegan Printer, and Louisville vegan jerky. There are also pens in there from Better Earth Media, because instead of giving you business cards, we're going to do something a little bit better for the environment. We're going to give you pens. And I know what you're thinking. It's plastic, Jane. That's not better for the environment. Actually, these pens are special. They're made from wheatgrass. So they're something that you can use and feel good about because it's better for the environment. So there are extras on the tables. Take them. If you see things, not other people's items, but if you see promotional things, go ahead and take them. They are up for grabs. There's chocolates. Take a whole bar. Take a part. Doesn't matter. Just, if you want the same bar, just eat the one bar though. Don't take one bite out of 10 bars, please, because it's kind of gross. All right, so we did want to remind you too that although we know that we live in a, this environment today with social media, people love taking pictures and videos, and that's fantastic. This is a private event, and Soho House is a private club, so there are no videos or photos allowed. We will have some pictures that we have had approval for, and we will have those up hopefully on our social media within the next week or so. So feel free to take a look at those. And we thank you for being understanding about that. And because I know you're probably a little sick of hearing me talk at this point, let's go ahead and introduce everybody else who is going to be up here tonight for this wonderful event. So we have David Casselman, founder and CEO of Ecoflix. We have Andrea, founder and executive director of Ecoflix International, and my co-host for the evening. We have journalist, writer, and Better Earth Media collaborator, Andrea G.Dunker. Come on up, guys. While they're sitting down, thank you again so much for being here tonight. So this is really fantastic. And we like to have these conversations and kind of invite you in. So if you can imagine, well, hey, what do you know? We're all sitting in comfortable chairs around tables with food and drinks, which is what I was just going to say. Because usually, if we're doing this online, we have to imagine that, right? That we're all together in this space having these conversations, because that's what it is a conversation. But tonight, we don't even have to imagine that. We're all here talking about something we're also passionate about. So thank you both for being here tonight. Thank you, Anders, for being such an amazing co-host with me. It's nice to be able to share that with somebody. So thank you. All right, so what we're going to talk about tonight is the importance of witnessing through on the field or storytelling. We're showing what's often hidden from our eyes, and so many things are purposely hidden from our eyes. It is important to bring awareness to those things, and we're showing people what's happening. So that raising awareness. Once we know better, typically humans want to do better. So So in order to have that inspiration to do better for the environment, which in turn does better for the animals and for ourselves, we need to expose those things first. So being able to really dive deep and see what's happening in these obscure shadows of environmental crime, seeing and witnessing in this way does give us the power to create change in all of us and inspire us to really take action, which is fantastic, because I think when you see something, you want to inherently do something about it to make a difference. So David, let's start with you. So we were talking and you founded Ecoflix. So this is a new video on demand platform, which is fantastic. It specializes in environmental content. And when we were chatting, you were telling me about how we want to really inspire people. We want to encourage people to change, to do small things, big things, celebrate what we can do when we're doing things together. So this is the first nonprofit media group and streaming platform that is 100% tax deductible, donates all membership fees directly to help save animals and the planet. I love that. So you can get all this information, you can be inspired and have this educational information, and those membership fees are also going to something good. Let's go ahead and take a look at a trailer for Ecoflix.
Welcome to Ecoflix, the first not-for-profit global media group dedicated to saving animals and the planet. Wholly owned by the Ecoflix Foundation, Ecoflix is a rich universe built on three non-profit pillars: animal welfare and safeguarding, habitat preservation, and habitat restoration. Populated by mesmerising images and breathtaking visuals, Ecoflix aims to affect change by championing the wonders of nature and the natural world. Exclusive for our members, we have a growing world of engaging content ready to explore. The Ecoflix channel has informative and inspirational programming, including an array of Ecoflix original productions. Run by a highly specialised team and operating a circle of giving, we are free to schools and partner with like-minded NGOs. Also, every penny of membership fees goes directly to funding frontline missions. This is Ecoflix. Nature needs us.
That's fantastic. I'm excited for my daughter to actually get on this platform because she loves animals and the environment, and I'm excited for her to see all of these different things that you have available. So that being said, David, tell us a little bit about what inspired you and your team to start Ecoflix, and then what the reception has been so far.
I retired from the practice of law here in Los Angeles, 42 years, and spent a good deal of that time pro bono doing work for animals because, probably like most of you, I really loved it. And when I retired, I felt like the bottom had dropped out of that part of my life, and I was a little sick to my stomach. And I thought, I've got to be able to do something. Right? If I'm not doing legal work, there's got to be something I can do. And a few years before I retired, I had helped to bring the players together and produce a film called Love and Bananas. Okay, there you go. Two. But actually, more than that, have seen the film because it's about an elephant rescue in Thailand. My partner, I have a sanctuary in Cambodia, and my partner with Black in Thailand. She's been my partner for almost 20 years. One of the most inspiring human beings you'll ever meet. We have shows with her on the channel, including podcasts. But anyway, this film taught people in a loving, inspiring way about the evils of trekking. Instead of putting the horrors in your face, it explained what the people in Thailand don't want you to know. And on the strength of that film worldwide, she's closed 300 trekking camps and elephant riding in Thailand. And to me, it was a couple camps, and that to me was a huge win because there can be 100 elephants in a camp. But when she closed 50 camps, I thought, okay, this really proves film is something much more powerful than I ever gave it credit for. So I thought, well, maybe we can do something with film. And then we started thinking about it. The idea of competing with Netflix and Amazon for dollars made no sense. We really wanted to make a difference. We didn't want to make money. And so it's taken 2.5 years to build the channel. We've been public for 10 months, and it's growing significantly. We're now partnering with dozens and dozens of NGOs around the world. And the entire point of Ecoflix is to support the great work of the people on the ground. We can't do everything, but there's something that isn't being done that we can do. And this is the model. We provide a rich universe of film. We talk about the issues. We inspire people in a positive way. We don't bludgeon them. And then when people join us, they can select the NGO of their choice that's partnering with us, and they'll get 100%. So we charge $3.99 a month or $47.88 a year. You don't get a cup of coffee for that anymore. You get a tax deduction, and your chosen nonprofit gets 100% of the money. So take a typical nonprofit, they have 10, 20, 30,000 people. If 1,000 join, they get a check for just under $50,000. Mercy for Animals, who's recently partnered with us, they have 10 million followers. If 1/10 of their people join Ecoflix, they get a check for almost $50 million. And that's the goal. Aggregate the revenue from all these people that pay a very small amount and really make a positive difference for animals.
Thank you, that's amazing. What has the reception been so far from people, clients, from people that, nonprofits that you partner with, and maybe people who are actually using the platform as well?
People love the platform. We've been very fortunate. We've grown dramatically since we started. I mean, that trailer doesn't include a 50th of the programming in swim lanes. We have some entire swim lanes dedicated to children, multiple swim lanes. Because we're free to schools, we have teachers' packets to tell them which films to use for which subjects. We're in 90,000 schools right now in the UK. School classrooms, not schools. And we're partnering with many organizations, and there's a lot of stuff on the horizon because we're still very new, but we're pretty excited about it, and we're hopeful that it's really going to take hold and make a huge difference.
We're excited for you too.
That's great. I wanted to ask you, it's very interesting that you talk so much numbers and you talk growth, because these issues are so urgent, and somehow you can ask yourself, could the planet, could other animals, could environmental issues be much higher up on our list of priorities, be a much more central part of the human agenda, so to speak. So I wonder, how do you see potential for growth of these audiences? How far can it go? How big can it get in our culture in general? And how do you contribute to that?
Well, there are a lot of answers to that. Let me start with, I personally think our situation is so urgent that there was no time to wait. We have no financial backing. I've been funding it myself. Eventually, I hope and think we'll get some brand sponsorship, because we're not taking any of the revenue. It's kind of a bad business model if that's your goal. But the thing that's so important about it is we will make a difference on the ground, and I do believe that the world is in such a fragile situation, and there's only just a little bit of a recognition of that in terms of the population. And as one famous scientist said, what we're really missing is a huge, horrible, calamitous situation for everybody to wake up. It will be a terrible thing, but because of that, we might wake up and do the right thing. I'm hoping we don't need that. I'm thinking in my own life, I see people starting, even the climate deniers are having a hard time explaining away what's happening. I think it's happening in the right sequence, and if we bring the children along and they bring their parents with them, I think we can really get there sooner, and that's the goal, is to be relevant to everybody, but inspire young people, because I think they're the key to everything.
That's a wonderful answer. I'm trying always to imagine in my own work a future where this is really like the central issue for us as Earthlings, that we're caring about these things first and then everything else. So for Ecoflix and environmentalist movies and all these things, animal rights causes to become mainstream somehow be the goal. Do you think that's conceivable?
It is. I think it's interesting. One of our board of advisors is a man named John Liu, and he has educated me about restoration of the earth, which he has dubbed the great work of our time. I've learned so much from all the people we have working with us, but one of the things he explained to me is, our parents, my age, fought in the world wars. That was the great work of their time, saving the world in a different way. Now we have a different challenge, and John Liu has tried to educate people through film, and we have many of his films on swim lane and growing all the time. He's got 350 earth restoration camps around the world. He has been instrumental for years and years and years, talking to presidents and heads of state all over the world about how to restore their ecosystems, their deserts that used to be incredibly rich. They don't understand the cycle, the carbon, the water, the soil, all these things. And he's saying, look, we all want toys, we want airplanes and cars and computers, but in a year or 2 or 3, they're on the junk pile. There's only one thing in this world that we have that has intrinsic permanent value, and that's the earth. Everything else is derivative from that. We should place our monetary value on restoration of the earth, and all future things of value should be paid and based on their intrinsic value, not their secondary value. And if you watch some of his shows, I mean, his point was pretty simple. You don't have air to breathe, soil to grow crops, water to drink, put your money. We're toast. So we really need to pay attention, and I think there's no time like the present.
Thank you.
Andrea, you are the founder and executive director of Earth League International. So this is an intelligence agency protecting wildlife and our planet with intelligence gathering operations. So they're exposing wildlife criminals worldwide, including poachers, traffickers, businessmen, and corrupt government officials. That's taking on quite a lot. So nature and animals are, in essence, your clients, right? And so you're working fiercely to defend them and defend them from a lot of things we don't see. So from corrupt environmental crime networks, and often it seems like these crime networks are interconnected to other types of crime, like drug trafficking, political corruption, and more. So this is really interesting, and I want to kind of dig into this a little bit further. Let's watch this trailer first from The Ivory Game.
Africa's got 700 tons of ivory. It's being moved across continents, being sold under the table. It's fueling international crime.
Traders in ivory actually want the extinction of elephants. The less elephants there are, the more the price rises. And it's a race against time.
I can't afford to see elephants die like this.
We are in a war zone.
We're just prepared to shoot at you, and you have to be prepared to shoot back.
We're talking about hundreds of tons of ivory getting into mainland China.
Organized crime is never far away.
The buyer is secret, the seller is secret, the killer is secret, everything is secret. You cannot trust anyone. He's the number one wanted poacher right now. One person has in his hands the destiny of an entire species.
Killing an elephant is more than just killing an individual animal.
It's tough because they're connected to each other.
They're destroying a family.
The feelings they have go far beyond our understanding.
As long as ivory is worth money, these poor animals are going to be annihilated.
They are a walking target.
Ivory trafficking
It's extremely dangerous. Are we really going to allow the biggest mammal on Earth to disappear?
So that's very powerful, just from that trailer alone. So one of the things that really stands out is the combination of urgency and complexity of this matter. So throughout history and in many parts of the world, the human plunder of nature is taken for granted, and it's seen as normal. We're so used to being able to use the earth instead of caring for the earth. We're used to being able to just use animals for our own selfish needs instead of caring for them. So even where it's criminalized, enforcing the laws is still a major challenge. So, and it takes quite a bit, right? Some things that might be unethical might be legal. So when it's illegal, it's still difficult to sometimes punish. So how do you get to the bottom of these networks of corruption, and how, that's one major question. And then how to share your experience through media and film and raising awareness, how does that help you in your efforts to fight for the future of animals like the majestic elephants we saw in this trailer?
Yeah, okay, so the first question, I can tell you how it started. I was in Kenya about 12 years ago, and I was doing something very different. My previous work was, let's say, in the field of private security, intelligence, and risk management and technology. And I was there in Nairobi for a client. It was a former Prime Minister of Somalia. He had a huge security problem. That was right in the middle of the elephant poaching crisis, when we were losing 40,000 elephants every year for the ivory trade. And I was also very close to KWS, the Kenya Wildlife Service, and I even organized some training for them. And I was going out with them on patrol just to see what they were doing. And I witnessed with my own eyes, this horrific, massacres of entire families of elephants, gunned down in a few minutes with AK-47. And I remember thinking, looking at the rangers and thinking, well, now the whole world is asking these rangers to solve the problem. And I thought, this is unfair, this is actually very stupid. It's like asking the local sheriff to solve narco-trafficking, so you can't. So I started asking questions, okay, who's going up the chain? Who's trying to find the real big players, the guy who calls the shot, runs the show? And the answer was nobody. And so I started studying, and I discovered that the whole thing was way more complex than what it looked like. So environmental crime is an intricate web of legal and illegal activities intertwined with money laundering, human smuggling, terrorism, narco-trafficking. So many people, I found out, NGOs, media, governments, were actually afraid of this complexity. They stay away for decades from this complexity because it's difficult to research, it's difficult to explain, it's super difficult to fundraise, and so they haven't done anything. And so this is how, when I decided, okay, so I stopped doing what I'm doing, and I would like to create the first intelligence agency for Earth. So I reached out to people I knew from the CIA, from the FBI, from crime analysts and undercover investigators, and I told them, hey, I have a big project for you. I actually have the biggest war you ever fought, and that's the war for Earth, but I need your skills. Because the people we're after it's a different kind of people. So this is how I started, and basically, if I can oversimplify our work, doesn't matter where we are or what we do, I want to know who are the most important players on any legal supply chain. And after we identify who they are, the job of my undercover teams is to infiltrate their networks. We stay with them for sometimes 2-3 years. We become really good friends with the most important wildlife traffickers on the planet. and we extract all possible information from them. Also, of course, using a lot of hidden devices, we capture conversation videos, and we want to know everything about them, even about their legal activities, their private life, where they sell the kids to school, where they put the money, the real estate, everything. And we put everything in confidential intelligence briefs that are then shared with law enforcement and to help them to go after these people. So I don't know if I answered the question, but this is the first question. The second question about films like The Ivory Game, is very important for us. Not always easy to make them because we usually we can share maybe 30-40% of what we do with the public. The rest is cannot for the security of my people. But with that 30%, you can do pretty cool stuff. So we did The Ivory Game first, and then we did the Sea of Shadows with Nat Geo. And for me, it's super important because what I just told you about the complexity about traffickers need to be explained and exposed. And in my opinion, the current narrative around environmental crime is obsolete and incomplete because it's all about the little fish, the poachers. I personally a bit afraid of those, big anti-poaching operations. They go around Africa killing a lot of people, and you have to. And I know that they became the villain, but many poachers are just poor people, and they need to make a living. They are offered 5 years of salary to kill an elephant. So of course you kill an elephant for 5 years of salary. They would do it also here in Los Angeles. So that's why my targets are different, and this is what I try to explain in the films as well.
Thank you for that, and I love that you brought the human element into that too, because people often say, well, you care so much about animals and the environment, what about people? And you just explained so beautifully why it does matter for people, because the people who are making the most money and who are benefiting the most from the devastation to the animals and the environment, those are the people we need to be going after, talking to. Those are the people who really, we need to see a lot of change that we can demand. It will also help those people who have no choice but to be a part of this broken system. So thank you so much for mentioning that, because it's true, we also care so deeply about other human beings as well, and helping one helps the other, and it just goes hand in hand.
It's easy from here, Los Angeles, to tell these people, wow, you're terrible, you're killing an animal. It's not that easy, okay? It's a different planet over there.
You're right, it's not that easy, and thank you for bringing that to our attention too, because we don't want to, I think coming from a place of compassion for other people in their situation, when we know better, right, we can do better, and that starts with our own awareness of the total, this is a huge issue, and it's very intricate. It's not as easy as just going after the people who you actually see do the poaching. It's way more intricate than that, so thank you for that.
I have a question. You mentioned your other film, or the film you're participating, Sea of Shadows, because one thing is Africa, and you can feel it's far away, it's very important to bring it here and to make it visible for us, things that people are involved in, even here through criminal networks. But Sea of Shadows is really something happening very close to us, and that makes it particularly moving, and especially also because it illustrates our incapacity to really do what should be done, even if it's close at hand. So let's watch the trailer first, and then we'll talk about that film.
This is organized crime.
Mexican narco traffickers call Totoaba the cocaine of the sea. The fishing of the Totoaba by Chinese traffickers and Mexican cartels is killing a vaquita. The vaquita is getting extinct.
There were 100, and then there were 60, and now there's fewer than 30.
Come on, sweetie. Come on, mama.
To stop the killing of the vaquita, we have to take down those traffickers. The whole thing stinks.
It's corruption all the way. Who is the Chapo of the Totoaba?
There's some really bad guys here.
places on the planet. I keep thinking about the moment when only one vaquita will be left in the wild.
This is a war against the extinction of a species.
We have to hold on to the hope that it's going to work.
The poacher is unacceptable. They'll take any means necessary. Clock ticking. We will fight for every single life. We won't stop.
That's a very powerful film. I would recommend it to everyone. It's on Nat Geo, Hulu. It's now on Hulu. It's a must watch. So I wanted to ask you about the angle of this story and the way it's told. I mean, it's a real story. It's things that happen, but it's also a narrative in a documentary motion picture. And I saw you on social media not so long ago talking about hope and how you're kind of tired of people talking about hope for the planet. Nothing wrong with hope, but we need somehow to move beyond it, to go to direct action and to fight against these destructive powers. And in Sea of Shadows, it's kind of depicted as almost like a losing battle. And I wonder, how does that affect audiences? How do people react? And what kind of emotions come up? And how are those emotions useful for the cause? How do you mobilize anger, disappointment, indignation, all these things? And also how does personal risk enter and affect these campaigns and the filming of the movie, given that it's about crime and it's such strong forces at play?
Yeah, hope. So, in fact, I had issues and problems with the producers and even the director of Sea of Shadows during the filming. I think they filmed for more than 400 hours to produce this 2 hours. And they have maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 hours just interviews one-on-one with me. And I remember during the interviews, there was always a point where the director was asking, okay, Andrea, now give me hope, give me hope. And I felt so uncomfortable, and I said, listen, if you continue like this, there's no hope. I felt fake, I felt an actor, I felt almost dirty because it was not the truth. And so I'm not against hope, of course. Hope is important to trigger the right emotions, to give energy to people, to get the energy to fight back whatever you're fighting for. But I profoundly dislike fake hope or dumb hope, which is hope based on nothing, on the wrong assumptions. And hope sometimes used in an artificial way by NGOs, by governments, by media, because it's like, I give you hope and you give me your money. I give you hope and you give me your attention. And then the risk is to get into this vicious cycle of selling hope even when there is no hope. If you have cancer, you don't want people around you, the doctors. I mean, you want them to talk about the treatment that will save your life, right? Not about IV and put my pillow and give me some vitamins, right? So, in this case, my problem was with the vaquita. So this is a story of an incredible story happened in 5 hours, 6 hours from Los Angeles in Baja California. This is about the rarest porpoise kind of dolphin in the world. So when we started to shoot the film, there were around 30 left. Now there are, I think, less than 10. Why? Because they have been doing the same things and they have been focusing for 10 years only on the illegal fishermen and not on the traffickers. And then when they were asking me for hope, in my mind I had, if the vaquita, the name of this animal, could talk, she would tell you, fuck you. I mean, you change strategy because I'm dying here, so do something different. So that was my problem with hope. So it's not that I hate hope, but They're hope based on things, on truth, right? That for me is very important truth. So that about hope. What was the second question?
The second question was how people react to
yes.
having depicted like a losing battle almost. The bad guys win.
Yeah.
Kind of narrative.
So I cannot tell you a lot. I mean, it's a complicated story. I invite you to watch the film. But the vaquita, this purposes, is dying as a bycatch in the nets to catch another fish, a fish, which is not a fish. And the swim bladder of this fish is the fishermen make around $4,000 or $5,000 a piece, one swim bladder in Baja California, and it's resold in China for $15,000. So it's a lot of money. Attracted the attention of narco traffickers and everything. So we couldn't stop this thing. It was simply too profitable. And again, you remove the nets from the sea, and the same night they put new nets. So that's clearly not the strategy. It's for me, this is an epic failure of conservation. If you cannot save the species 6 hours from Los Angeles, you put the money on the unit. So we want to save the rhino and the elephants in the middle of nowhere. So it's incredible case studies of how not to do things, but I never stopped. So when the situation was already bad, I told my team, we are going to find out who are the most important Tutuaba traffickers in Mexico. We identify each of them, and we create an incredible confidential intelligence brief, and now we are working with the US government to catch each of them and put them in prison, even if the vaquita was extinct. It kind of became personal. So the vaquita is going extinct, okay, but you are going to jail. That's where we are right now.
Right. That's amazing work, even if it's an incredibly sad and saddening situation. So, but there's hope and courage, at least. And my second question was about risk, and everyone asks themselves, how is it to work under such circumstances and even make a film? And how has this whole, the making of the film and also the after effects of the film been a part of the situation?
The making of the film was very complicated for us because we work as an intelligence agency, so we work in the shadow. So you cannot work in the shadow with a troop of 10 people and cameras and audio, of course. So I remember to do this film and to do a decent job, I had to invent a role for myself as well. So I pretended to be an Italian journalist interested in fishing. And I also had a magazine, an Italian magazine about fishing. So I was going around and everyone was talking. So I didn't, that was the excuse of going around with all these cameras, right? In general, our work is, I think, less risky than what you might think. We are really good in managing risk. For this reason, we don't share a lot of information to protect ourselves. We share only what we can be shared, and it's not dangerous. My right hand is 28 years undercover for the FBI. He's seen it all. Our investigators have more than 20 experience. So if there's time, I can tell you a funny thing that just happened. A few months ago, we were in a Latin American country working on the jaguar and illegal timber. And we did a great job in this country. We worked with the public prosecutor. We helped them to put in jail 5 of the most important wildlife traffickers in Latin America or Asia. And we were there, our team was there, meeting new people, new traffickers. And while we were meeting these traffickers, they received a call from the police. And the police was telling the traffickers about us. Okay? Giving information about us, and we just helped the police. But the funny thing, if you want to find the funny side of the story, is that, and they were showing to us all the messages from the police. So they were telling about us, to us, about us, without knowing it was us.
That's how complicated it is.
Yes, and this is an example of managing risk. So if you do your job and you become really good friends with these people, They don't think about you as a threat. They will think about somebody else. So this is how managers.
That's incredible stories. So we wanted to sort of connect your journeys a little bit. Jane, a couple of questions about
Sure.
documentaries.
Well, just before we move forward, I want to say I think sometimes when we're hit with documenting the truth, and even if it is a losing battle, I think that can inspire action. And that's where we get, there's hope because you're taking action. So it's kind of like we're not accepting apologies anymore. We want to see change behavior. And that's, to me, sometimes like an apology that's for just kind of overreaching to everything. I'm so sorry for everything that's happened. There's no specifics with it, so the person probably doesn't mean it, right? So, but they change their behavior and they're specific about it. There's intention there. That is where you have hope for a future with that relationship. And similarly with the animals and the environment, there's hope when you're seeing a change in behavior. And sometimes it has to get really bad, and we have to see something we have to lose in order to kind of get the kick in the butt we need to move forward and to actually do something. Because oftentimes if we can just get by with doing the bare minimum or letting other people do something, we'll just let them. If we can just be on cruise control, it's easy, right? But, I don't know if anybody has driven, trying to use cruise control in snowy weather in the Midwest. It doesn't work. You cannot use cruise control on black ice. For those of you who are maybe born and raised in Los Angeles or someplace warm, you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm from Minnesota, so I was raised in a very different environment in many ways. You actually have to be in control of your vehicle, and even then, sometimes you just have to make snap judgments and you really have to be there, fully focused on what you're doing. And I feel like this is one of those cases. We have to have a plan, we have to have action, we have to know what we're doing. There's hope because we're going to have an action plan. We have to be ready for anything and adjust as we're going. So thank you for raising awareness for that and for showing us, the things that are really hard to look at because sometimes that's what we need to see. So thank you. So for both of you, I have a couple of questions. I'll try to ask one at a time because I know you want to think about your answers and I don't want to overwhelm you with, 5 quick fire questions. Although we could do a lightning round, that would be really fun. Maybe not for you, but it would probably be fun for all of you. So first off, what are you most excited about for your upcoming projects and the next steps? So things that you are doing and things that maybe you are inspiring us to do for the future. And either one of you can go first with that answer.
Well, for Ecoflix, the real first hurdle was creating a library of really engaging, inspiring, beautiful, uplifting film. Anybody who's made film knows they don't just pop in the boat. They take months, sometimes years, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and they're usually very expensive. So we needed to figure out a way to be sustainable, which means you don't fly film crews all over the world, how to be productive, meaning you don't waste a lot of time, you know what you're trying to film, and you get in and get out. And then of course you have to find a way to produce it, so we're doing it all in-house. You pay people for post-production in Los Angeles, you're gonna pay $600 an hour, and that adds up very quickly. So we've tried to solve a lot of those problems to keep the prices down, but we're also excited because our NGO partners want us to not just help them make film, but they want to give us their film. They want to have us use our worldwide platform to show the good work that they've done. And so it's a win-win situation. We get more content, they get more exposure, and then together we make films about things that are important to both of us. So that's been very exciting because our platform has blossomed and more is happening. It's usually, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Well, as we become a more fertile environment, we are having greater success in bringing in more films, making more films, more powerful films. And so that's been very exciting. And of course, getting into schools has been a difficult challenge, just getting through the door. And now that we have 90,000 classrooms in the UK, we're hoping that we will get much more response because everything builds from where you start.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's excellent. Andrea?
So one exciting thing, but it will take a while. We are working on a new documentary series and on a scripted as well, a fiction inspired by our work. And it will be finally the opportunity to better explain our work and also to explain a topic that is very, that is what, is very dear also to my personal interest, which is it's called environmental crime convergence, which is the convergence of environmental crime with other crimes, like human smuggling, narco trafficking, money laundering. But it will take a while. We'll probably start filming early next year. Closer to us in November, if you're interested, we'll be publishing a very interesting report about crime convergence, environmental crime convergence. So if you're interested, that will just follow us.
Perfect. Then just last question from me to both of you is, what can we do and how can we share your work to make a difference for you? Because what you're doing is so important, and I know I work for a nonprofit. Funding is always an issue, but that's always something that we need. There's awareness that is needed. So will you tell us, please, how we can do one thing today, an action that we can take that will help both of you?
Well, I can't tell you, yes, right. No, actually, in fact, if everybody in this room would like to see Ecoflix, send me your email address. I'll give you my email now. It's dbc@ecoflix.com, and I'll send you a free year subscription. And when you have it, it's dbc@ecoflix.com. And when you have it, talk to your friends, talk to NGOs, talk to brand sponsors, talk to people who are interested in making a difference. Because numbers is everything. When you're talking to somebody like Mercy for Animals with 10 million people, 10% is a lot different than somebody who has 1,000 followers. And so the more people that are on the channel, the more social media we have. We're up, of course, on all the standard social media platforms, but the more support, the more the brands pay attention. I've really not tried to get friends and others to send me checks. I feel guilty even thinking about it. The goal is to have a win-win in everything we do. So the reason a brand sponsor would come to us is not because they're trying to do us a favor. They want to greenwash, or if they're already green, they want to ride with us to see this important work through. And so we need to find the right brand sponsors. If anybody knows somebody, and I'm talking to Barclays next week, they're interested, and so we'll see. But the right brand sponsors, I mean, we were talking to British Petroleum a long time ago, and we told them, we just can't do it. I mean, that's sorry. But yeah, I mean, actually, greenwashing is a real thing. And what we were interested in, for example, is if they wanted to improve their platform, change the polluting ways, and do something really important where they went green, we could make a film for them, about them. And I even had a channel Swimlane picked out called Greener by the Day. And these companies would have their own films showing how they're improving. And I think they deserve all the credit in the world if they switch over to renewable energy sources and do all the right things. So just like you're talking about with wildlife trafficking and crime and all those things, half of this stuff is not illegal. Most of it isn't illegal, but it's a crime against nature. And from our standpoint, it doesn't make any difference because the laws aren't protecting it. It's got to be in our hearts that this is just not right. We have to change because the planet needs us.
Yeah, absolutely. And same question for you, Andrea. What can we do to support your work? Is there something that we can do to take action today to support what you're doing?
Apart from money,
We'll have a tip jar.
and I really suck at fundraising, so I will not even try right now. We are a Los Angeles-based organization, and we, because of our work, we had to keep for a few years a low profile, so to speak, like under the radar. So we only now we can finally talk more freely about who we are. In fact, we're going to have our first fundraising event in October in Los Angeles, because now it's easier for us. We know what to say and what not to say. So follow us on social media and talk about not only us but also environmental crime.
You should join Ecoflix.
Let us share out.
The people that want to support you can spend $3.99 a month. Yeah, absolutely. It's free to become a partner. We won't obviously take NGO partners that aren't doing the real work, but you are, and this is amazing stuff. And you know, $3.99, people want to do something. They can't afford a coffee at Starbucks for that. So they get a tax deduction. You get to show your films, we get to show our films, everybody gets, you get the money, and it's a win-win all the way around.
So you get on Ecoflix. All of us should sign up and actually pay for a membership and select your nonprofit as the beneficiary. I think that would actually be, if all of you are willing to do that, that would actually be a win-win for everybody.
You see, I need someone else doing the job for me. I told her that.
This is amazing. And share out, because if you're on social media, you may have 100 followers and somebody else may have 1 million, but your 100 may be different than those millions. So share these stories, share things out, because you never know who you're going to reach. And it doesn't matter how many followers you have. People will, I mean, it does matter from like a brand sponsorship standpoint. I know how that whole thing works. When it comes to reach though, an audience, every audience is different. Everybody's social media has a different audience. So when you share somebody else's story, you're helping raise awareness for that brand, for that person, for that cause. So you may think you're not doing enough, but you are. So you're literally spending nothing and doing something to help somebody else, and in turn helping the animals on the planet.
It's so true, and you know, one of the things that I particularly love about what we're doing is that we have all these NGOs doing different things. It's not everybody saving elephants, it's not everybody saving turtles, it's not chimpanzees, it's all kinds of things. And they're all doing good stuff, and everybody should be able to pick the one that they really like. So we don't care. We want to support the good work of people we've agreed to take in as our partners, and everybody wins. You get to know that you've made a difference, and that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I have one last reflection and kind of also to thank you. When I sort of see the work you're doing and hear about it, it strikes me that this thing of being a witness is crucial, because information is all around, but information is not enough. You need some kind of glimpse, some kind of experience that really sets off something in you. And those glimpses, they can sometimes become almost like a challenge. Like either you do something or you don't. And I see you both as people who have answered to those intuitions at some moment in your lives, and that's very admirable. So I was just first wanted to thank you for the work you're doing and for being here. And secondly, just ask you, when you sort of take on a mission of sorts, it's almost like a little calling, or it's a decision. What is the most rewarding part about it, and what is the toughest part of being on such a journey?
Well, I know my answer is going to be different than yours, because right now, at least, I don't have anybody to answer to. I can make the decision. Peter Van Putkamer is here. He's our head of photography and filmmaking, and I had a call with some people in Canada involving a horrible problem with clear-cutting the old Douglas fir forests up there, and they were literally tying themselves to the street and to trees to try to stop logging. And I called Peter, who's an acclaimed award-winning photographer, and I said, how fast can you get there and start documenting this? And so he zoomed up there. We had people on the ground taking film before the news cameras practically, and that film was put together on a budget that you can't even imagine. Now it's expensive to me, but for a filmmaker it was laughable. We just won the Climate Film of the Year at the NGO International Film Festival. Peter did an amazing job on it. It compares the Amazon to Southeast Asia, and it pulls all the players together and talks about it. And so for me, the idea that we can move, that we're nimble, that we can change our business plan in a heartbeat, we've done it a lot of times, and we finally settled into what we feel good about, that's been a really rewarding thing. Not too many businesses do that or can do that. It's just like you're talking about, you're doing something and it's not working. Why are you still doing it? So we wait about an hour and a half and then we change.
Bravo.
For us is, I think simply when we can help, I mean, we share a lot of information in a confidential way with a lot of different entities, law enforcement, we work with Homeland Security, with Fish and Wildlife, with academia, we work with 3 different universities in the US. When our partners tell us, thank you, we didn't know about that, and now we can use it and we can do better because of your information, that's all we want. I mean, we want to help those people. We are, that's the best compliment for me, but especially for my team, because most of the work is done by my team, not by me. So I have an incredible team, and the best one is here, Ali is here in the room, but so I'm particularly proud for them when they tell us this.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You don't have to answer to the toughest part. I guess there's a lot of tough parts to the work you're doing, both of you, and challenges, but...
Tough part? Well, apart from dealing with other NGO, which I don't like particularly, and fundraising, I think until 2-3 years ago, it was very difficult to separate work from my private life. And then I had a couple of personal, bunch of personal events, and it's like it was the universe sending me very clear messages, and so I put a lot of effort, and now I'm happy to say that my personal life is more important than my work. I know it sounds bad, but it's not. So I learned my lesson, and
self-care is important.
Yeah. First,
it's a little bit like on the airplane.
Yeah.
Save yourself.
So this kind of job is often, especially at the beginning, to mix the two, but it's very wrong.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
It's a risk that comes with working with passion. Yeah. That's
I guess I'm in a room that I can say this. I think the hardest part is I've learned to fundamentally hate people. I made a lot of exceptions because they're wonderful people. It's not like as a species we completely suck.
Yeah, I mean, wait a minute. Seriously, I mean.
Oh, I said in this room. I mean, anybody who's here obviously has to be pretty good. Yeah,
Fairly decent,
but I mean, the roadblocks that you run into and the stupidity that we see over and over again, and the things that Andrea you're talking about, it's just so frustrating. I mean, we're dealing with those issues from killing lynx in Russia, whales across the globe, and every kind of wild animal in Africa seems to be in danger, and Southeast Asia with habitat loss and all the human conflict. There's just no end to problems for the planet and the animals, and there's always people attached to it. It's just like, really, we're just one species. Who do we think we are? So, yeah, I've learned to hate people that I don't know.
That's a powerful answer. I guess we can take a couple of questions from the audience. Just to round up, we won't make it long because...
Yeah, one question.
One question.
Only one, because we're already running a little... Anybody have a question that they'd like to ask?
High pressure, one question.
I also have a question.
Yes.
I want to know from each of you, how important do you think public opinion is in shaping governmental policy that will actually create real systemic change on the ground, rather than like deciding to go green with our cut choices? You know what I mean? Like that is the ultimate goal for that to be law?
Well, I don't know about law, and I know a lot about the law because I was a lawyer. I don't know if law changes anything. I do think that attitude right and wrong, intrinsically, not legally, makes a huge difference. I mean, look at marijuana. It was against the law forever and ever. Didn't change anybody's mind. So if we're going to save the planet, people have to feel it. They have to understand it better. They have to know how important it is and their role in it. So many people, I mean, it's amazing how few people know. I mean, most of us here talk about, the various COP26 coming up, COP27. Most people don't know what COP is. Conference of the Parties has been going on. It's the 27th time, and the Americans don't even know what it is. In the UK, it's on television all over the place. They're covering it like it's Donald Trump. And that is a whole different thing in the country you're in. It makes a big difference. If you listen to the news about the United States from around the world, you don't recognize it. It's not the news you get at home. And so if we could have a common set of facts, and people would accept the truth about how many different ways we're creating our own problems. I mean, we talk about saving the planet. The planet's going to be fine. It'll get rid of us and it'll flat. Because we're the worst thing that ever happened to it. We have to save ourselves. And there's a great video, if you haven't seen it, it's called Don'tChooseExtinction.com. It's a 2-minute video put out by the United Nations. It's brilliant. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex talking to the UN. It's brilliant.
Well, my space is very specific. It's environmental crime, so I can talk about that. And in this case, public opinion is very important because if it doesn't change, you continue doing the same mistakes over and over for a long time, and nobody will change because the public opinion. And the example I made before, poachers versus traffickers, is a classic example of public opinion fixated on the poachers and the rangers and the poachers. And guess who is thanking you? The trafficker. But policymakers, government will not do much if they don't see a change in public opinion, and that's beyond my power. My job is to provide concrete evidence, so not hearsay, evidence that is happening, and that's environmental crime, in our opinion, should be treated as transnational organized crime. Because if you get to that point, then you know better than me, laws changes that they can. And this is exactly how we are getting the attention of big law enforcement agencies, attaching other crimes, and because they don't care about the vaquita. But if you talk about the vaquita plus money laundering plus human smuggling plus narco trafficking, they care. By doing that, we hope to influence also public opinion. But I don't know your experience, but when you are a small NGO, the noise out there produced by the big NGOs is almost unbeatable. It's just, it's just Ecoflix versus Netflix. No disrespect. So it's very difficult when you want to change public opinion, but you're small. Then you need.
But then the media comes really important.
Yes.
And media coverage of that work outside of the ecosphere of documentary cinema.
I'll give you one example that really changed my heart, and I think that's what it takes. It starts in the heart, it's not in the brain. I was working with like Chyler, this is 20 years ago. I formed the Cambodia Wildlife Sanctuary and asked her, it took me 2 years to reach her because she had death threats from everywhere. She was trying to stop trekking in Thailand. And when I finally got together with her and I spent time with her, I said, Black, people judge sanctuaries by how your animals fare. If too many animals dying, they think your sanctuary is no good. And you're rescuing animals, elephants with broken hips, broken legs, severe, every animal she's got, every elephant has killed somebody. These are animals that were abused beyond any belief. If you saw what they went through, you wouldn't believe that they could even be around a person. But she's convinced them that they are loved. And so they treat her like their own baby. said to her, like, aren't you worried that you're rescuing these elderly, infirm elephants that are going to die shortly after they came to your sanctuary? She said, no. I said, really? Why not? I mean, people might think badly of Elephant Nature Park. She said, David, these people have spent their life being abused by people. That's all they've known. And when they come to Elephant Nature Park, we love them. We care for them. And I want them to die in the company of people who love them. And it stopped me in my tracks. I didn't see that coming. Her heart is just that pure. And she's had a tremendous influence on me, and everybody who's seen her, met her, knows anything about her, is better for it. That's what it takes to change the world. Power of intention, because it's the right thing to do. And that's really what all of us care about when it comes to animals. It's the right thing to do. We know it. We can't stand the injustice of what's happened. And when everybody gets that in their heart, politicians will change in response. But until that happens, laws can change. You can outlaw poaching. Nobody's going to care. They can get away with it. They'll make more money. It's on your saying. They'll keep doing it. But if people around realize this is a terrible thing, it's a crime against nature, we shouldn't be doing this, then they'll stop. And it's really that's it. We have to change hearts first.
And that's such a great question that you address, and I can't see your face because the light's right in my eyes. And media does play such a huge role in changing public opinion. And public opinion is often so far ahead of policy change and changing laws. So to what both of you are saying, we shouldn't be waiting for policies to change or laws to change in order to change our behavior, right? Because we're responsible for our behavior, regardless of what the laws say, regardless of what policies say. Public opinion, though, can change as the power of media and even social media and news and video and all of these things is raising awareness. We live in an age where we are able to see things we have never been able to see before, and things that are created like films and documentaries that we've never had this much access to information before. So it is such a large and important medium for the public to really form their opinion, and it is important because public opinion will change. We will change our behavior, then we will demand that policies and laws are enacted to protect the earth, the animals, and human beings as well. So it does happen, probably not in the way that we think it should happen. We think it should come from the top down. Really, it's us, it's all of us and our opinions that will change first. And then we can push for and encourage our lawmakers to change things and enact policies that go along with what we believe to be right. And acknowledging when we make mistakes, when we're wrong as well. I think it's very important too. So thank you for both of you for bringing that up. And it does, we need to change our opinion. And what you're doing is raising awareness and changing public opinion, which I think is very important in creating these new policies and laws that will offer more protection for the environment and the animals. So thank you for the great question.
Okay, so thank you both, and thank you to everyone in the audience for coming. We have some time, we have the room for some more time, so there's a chance for people to exchange knowledge, comment, get to know each other.
Yeah, before you get up though, hold on just a second. I want to say a big thank you to David and Andrea for all you do, for inspiring all of us to have a healthy relationship with the animals and with the environment as well, and for being so courageous in everything you're doing. Thank you all for coming to the event. We have just a couple more things to tell you about. You can get up if you want to while I'm telling you this. So Anna, the co-founder of Better Earth Media, does have a new book out. It's a collection of songs for the future. So if you'd like to take a look at that, we do have a few of them available. Andrew's actually going to grab us for that. And we have another really exciting announcement. So I'm a mom, and I have 4 kids. I have 1 human child. She's 6 years old, and I have 3 rescue dogs. Those are my fur children. So you know, my life changed. I guess you're gonna get a little bit of my background here. I'm so sorry. So about 5 years ago, my daughter was a year old, and I was in a really bad place physically. I was obese at that time. I suffered with chronic asthma and high blood pressure, joint pain, and emotionally was in a very bad place, and mentally as well. I decided, you know what, I would do something so I can be a better role model for my daughter, because she's my why for everything. And I thought, you know what, I've always loved animals. I know I can't save them all, but one thing I can do is stop harming them. So I went vegan for the animals. I thought, that's something small I can do. I can do that today. You know, I can make those changes. So I did that. I started running for my health. I thought, well, if I can even run a block, it's better than what I did yesterday. You know, just one little bit is better than nothing. So over the course of about 18 months, I ended up making some really major changes. Asthma's gone, joint pain's gone, and actually now an ultramarathon runner, which is just feels fantastic. And my daughter is learning through the, you know, looking at what I'm doing, that she can accomplish anything she wants to do, and she can do it and not harm the animals or the environment, which is fantastic. So she's learning to be a fantastic steward of the environment and the animals, and still do all these amazing things. Like, you know, she's running her first race in November. I'm super proud. It's a kid's half K, so I'm super excited about that. So I wanted to do a party for her for Halloween, right? Just, you know, a little party at a sanctuary. And then we thought, you know what? Why not make it a whole party, invite all the other vegan kids, people who are plant-based curious, people who care about the environment, invite them all, make it more of a party, bigger party, and have all the profits go to that animal sanctuary. So we are launching our initiative, Better Earth Kids, and we are teaching kids how to be responsible stewards of the environment and all of her creatures. And our first event is this amazing Better Earth Kids Halloween party. It is being held at Lavoie Sanctuary, which is a little bit north of Los Angeles, on Saturday, October 29th. So if you're interested in learning more about that, definitely let us know. It is a private event, so it's not just open to the public. We do, you know, have RSVP for that. So we're excited about that. We have more things coming up. We wanted to say thank you so much to all of our sponsors for providing us with delicious plant-based goodies, because these products are better for us, better for the environment, and of course, better for the animals too. And we wanted to remind you that in the spirit of sustainability, the Soho Warehouse does offer a variety of plant-based food. So if you'd like to order more food, you can certainly talk to the bar about that, or the waiters or waitresses. And if you would like to support us, you can go ahead and help us too. We do have a QR code here if you'd like to help us with future events. You know, if you're feeling generous, you can feel free to do that there. And please keep us updated. If you want to connect with us, we love connecting with you. Come up and talk to us. You can follow us on social media. Give us your email addresses. Visit our website, betterearthmedia.com. Our little pens that are here, they're blue and kind of a brown color. Go ahead and take one. It actually has our website on there, and you can be updated on any events that we have coming up. So please, because we would love to keep in contact with all of you. Thank you again. I want to give a huge round of applause to David and Andrea for being here today.
One last thing, in the spirit of these conversations, we also have some Earth propaganda by Inanna. So these are some catchwords: cherish, abolish, protect, defend. So those are for sale, together with these books on the table over here.
So thank you all so much for coming, and happy networking, everybody.